Hey guys, it's your pal Victor here, and I am going to give you a quick capsule, because this is a DuckTale, of course, a quick capsule review of the movie A Glitch in the Matrix, directed by Rodney Ascher from the 2021 Sundance Film Festival. Rodney Ascher, a lot of his movies premiere at Sundance, like Room 237 and The Nightmare. 11 years ago, when I first went to Sundance in Park City, I first saw one of his movies. It was a short that played before one of the midnight movies I meant to see, I think. It might have been, might have been at the library or something, but it was this movie called The S from Hell, and it was about people who were scared of the Sony Screen Gems logo and theme. And I remember thinking, this is the fucking weirdest thing I've ever seen. But yeah, it went, and it turned out he made a whole career doing documentaries like this. And this is the latest one. It's about people who are solipsists. They believe they're the only person who exists in the universe, and everything around them is an elaborate simulation. And why they're the most important person in the universe is never really explained, that everyone else is a simulation around them. I will say this was clearly shot during the quarantine, so they do a little trick where, all the Zoom interviews are replaced by CGI characters, sort of playing into the simulation thing. And a lot of it is about simulation theory and Philip K. Dick, and I feel if it had stuck on that kind of like, whoa, these people are kind of like embodiments of this thing that Dick talked about in the 70s, where he felt he lived in an elaborate simulation, and somebody like, the dark-haired woman in Total Recall came to him and told him the whole world was a lie. Oh, that would have been cool, but it kind of like just goes all over the place and talks about like Elon Musk and Joe Rogan and deep fakes as kind of like, oh, these are little ways we are in a simulation. And I don't think it really works. I think a lot of the people he chose to interview are really terrible. For the one guy who lives in a simulation, and he realizes he's addicted to video games because the simulation was low on power and had to make him do repetitive things. I'm like, well, doesn't that just mean you're a part of the simulation, man? And it spends a lot of time talking to this guy, Joshua Cook, who turns out killed his parents because he thought he was trapped in a simulation like the Matrix. And you realize there's actually a subreddit called A Glitch in the Matrix, and that's kind of really what Asher's interested in, is talking to weirdos who like talk about like, I don't recognize my girlfriend's face, is the Matrix messed up? Like, all right, stick to that, then don't make it a broader thing. It's like 7 parts that's supposed to be something bigger. And just production value wise, it's a big step down from The Nightmare. It's just, sort of looks like something like out of Everything is Terrible. I mean, no offense to people like Vic Berger who make like really cool edited videos. Vic Berger video is way better than this movie. This is just kind of like, I just wanted a lot more from this video. It feels like cursely researched at best, and like, I get that, like, that's another thing from his movies. Like, even The Nightmare doesn't feel like it was the best researched thing about sleep paralysis, and Room 237 just feels like they found a bunch of kooks on like Reddit or 4chan, and this is kind of like the same thing, and it's disappointing because simulation theory is something that's actually really interesting and cool. And, they could have found like a lot of futurists, and instead they found like just like one professor who seems like a kook in himself. It's an example of a movie that takes a really cool premise and really doesn't do anything with it that's like all that interesting. I think some people might really dig it, but unfortunately I don't think I was one of them. So yeah, those are my thoughts on the movie. I'm sure it'll find its way on Netflix or something eventually. But I feel a lot of people do kind of these fringe documentaries better now, and I was kind of just expecting more from this, so that's kind of a bummer. If you dug this review, feel free to subscribe, check out other videos from us, and yeah, thanks for tuning in, and we'll hear from you soon, hopefully in the comments, on what you thought about this movie.